What if the answer to saving the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the big idea to pull the multiverse out of its nosedive into chaos, doesn't come from a hero? What if it comes from the one man who has always believed he's the only one smart enough to fix everything? And what if that man wears the face of the hero who sacrificed it all? You can pretty much forget what you thought you knew about the future of the MCU. The era of Kang, the villain we were told would define the multiverse saga, has basically fallen apart. In its place, a different shadow is rising, a specter of iron and magic, a villain whose sheer ambition makes Thanos look like he was thinking small. We're talking about Dr. Doom. But this isn't just about swapping one big bad for another. A massive theory is taking shape online, pieced together from rumors and speculation, and it's not just a new plot, it's poetic. The entire theory hinges on the shocking idea of Robert Downey Jr. returning to the MCU, not as the hero who saved everyone, but as a villain who would enslave humanity to save it from itself. This theory suggests that Doom's grand plan is a dark mirror of Tony Stark's sacrifice, and that it involves the god of stories, Loki, and the fate of all reality. This isn't just a master plan, it's a thematic epic, and the pieces have been hiding in plain sight. To get where we might be going, we have to remember the mess we're in. The multiverse saga was built around a single terrifying idea. Kang the Conqueror is coming. We saw his most reasonable variant, He Who Remains, spell it out at the end of Loki Season 1. He described a multiversal war fought by infinite, monstrous versions of himself, a war he ended by forcing all of reality down a single sacred path. And then, Sylvie killed him. The multiverse exploded into chaos, and just as he warned, the Kangs started to appear. We saw the Council of Kangs in the post-credits of Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, a whole legion of them furious that our heroes were messing with their plans. The stage was set for Avengers the Kang Dynasty. But then reality hit. After real-world legal issues, Jonathan Majors was fired by Marvel Studios, throwing the future of Kang into complete chaos. For months, everyone has been asking, will they recast the part or just pivot to a new story? Publicly, Marvel's head, Kevin Feige, has been cagey, neither confirming nor denying Kang's future. But then, a major bombshell dropped at San Diego Comic-Con 2024 that completely reset the board. It was confirmed that the fifth Avengers film, once called The Kang Dynasty, has been officially renamed Avengers Doomsday. And it was announced that the directors of Infinity War and Endgame, Joe and Anthony Russo, are coming back to direct both Doomsday and its sequel, Avengers Secret Wars. Then came the moment that truly broke the internet. Robert Downey Jr. came out on stage, not to announce he was back as Iron Man, but to put on a new mask. Marvel confirmed that Robert Downey Jr. would be playing the multiverse saga's new ultimate villain, Dr. Doom. According to the Russo brothers, casting Downey as Doom was a what-if dream scenario that Kevin Feige had talked about for years, and now it's actually happening. This wasn't just a simple casting change, it was a fundamental shift for the entire saga. The threat of Kang has been replaced by something way more complex, more personal, and more tied to the legacy of the MCU. The age of Kang is over. The age of Doom has begun. So, why Robert Downey Jr.? Why bring back the face of the MCU's greatest hero, the man who died to save the universe just to make him its new destroyer? The answer, according to a theory that's now everywhere, is that this is the entire point. It's not stunt casting, it's storytelling. The theory suggests the Victor Von Doom we'll meet in Avengers Doomsday isn't the one from our main timeline. He's a variant. Specifically, he's a variant of Tony Stark. Think about it. A Tony Stark from another universe where things went terribly wrong. A universe where he never learned about sacrifice, where the attack on New York didn't inspire him to build a shield around the world, but a cage. A Tony who looked at Thanos not as a monster to be stopped, but as a role model to be improved upon. This would be a Tony Stark with all the brains and ego, but none of the heart. A man who saw the chaos of the multiverse and, like our Tony, decided he was the only one who could fix it. Except his solution wasn't giving his own life. It was total absolute control. This theory proposes that in his quest to protect his world, this Stark merged his incredible tech genius with magic, becoming a master of both science and sorcery far beyond what Doctor Strange could manage. He became Dr. Doom. The idea is tragically poetic. It completely reframes Tony Stark's journey. His sacrifice in Endgame means so much more when you contrast it with a version of himself who made the exact opposite choice. It shows that Tony didn't just have to learn to be a hero. He had to conquer the doom inside himself, the arrogant, control-freak billionaire from the first Iron Man. This theory feels even more solid when you think about the story possibilities. It would create an instant, devastating emotional conflict for the heroes who loved Tony. Imagine Peter Parker, who looked up to Tony like a father, having to fight a monster wearing his mentor's face. Or Pepper Potts, or his daughter, Morgan. The psychological damage alone would be incredible. Doom wouldn't just be some bad guy, he'd be a ghost twisting the memory of their greatest friend. The Russo brothers have hinted that Tony Stark's death is a key part of the story of why Downey is returning. The Stark variant theory gives the most powerful and emotional reason for that link. It suggests Doom's very existence is a perversion of Tony's legacy, and his grand plan isn't just about conquering, it's about proving that his way, the way of absolute control, was the right choice all along. A choice our Tony was simply too weak to make. If this theory is right, then Dr. Doom's plan isn't just about destruction. It's a twisted form of salvation. And it all starts with him watching the multiverse from his home timeline. He would have seen the chaos, the incursions, universes crashing into and destroying each other, and he would have watched the clumsy attempts of the Council of Kangs to deal with it. Where the Kangs were just brutes trying to wipe out other timelines, Doom sees a bigger picture. He sees himself as a savior, not a conqueror, a god. And according to some of the most persistent theories, his plan is to forcibly smash all of reality into one single world, a battle world, with him as its god emperor. But how do you get the power to rewrite reality? This is where the plan's poetic genius really shines. According to multiple insider rumors, Doom's main target isn't the Avengers, it's Loki. At the end of Loki Season 2, the God of Mischief found his glorious purpose. He became the living anchor of the multiverse, sitting at the center of reality, and holding all the timelines together like a new world tree. He is literally the battery of the multiverse. He is the engine keeping everything running. Doom, a master of both science and magic, would absolutely recognize this. He wouldn't see Loki as an enemy to be fought, but as a power source to be stolen. Why build your own multiversal engine when there's one already woven into time itself? The theory goes that Doom's plan is to find Loki at the end of time, take him down, and seize control of the loom of timelines for himself. From that throne, he could collapse every timeline he doesn't like and stitch the remains together into his perfect battle world. This turns the whole conflict into a cosmic chess match for the keys to reality. The multiversal war becomes a race to Loki. The Avengers will have to find and protect him while Doom needs to capture and control him. The poetry here is impossible to miss. Loki's entire journey was about letting go of his ambition, his jealousy, his need for a throne. He found true power in sacrifice. Doom, the Dark Stark variant, is the exact opposite. He's a man defined by his refusal to let go, by his absolute belief that only he should have the throne. His plan to steal Loki's power is a direct attack on everything Loki has become. It's a philosophical war fought on a cosmic scale. Hey everyone, just jumping in for a second. If your mind is racing with all these cosmic and poetic possibilities, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're going to be tracking every rumor and theory on the road to Doomsday and Secret Wars, and you won't want to miss it. All right, back to the plan. So, how does Doom kick off this master plan? He uses a concept we already know about from Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness: incursions. That's when two universes collide, destroying one or both. While our heroes see incursions as a disaster to be stopped, Doom sees them as a tool, a scalpel. He doesn't want to stop the multiverse from collapsing. He wants to control and speed it up. According to one popular theory, Doom discovers that certain key timelines, like our Earth 616, are held together by anchor beings. Individuals so important that their entire universe is stabilized around them. The theory suggests that Earth 616 had two such anchors. The first was Tony Stark. His death has already weakened the fabric of our reality. The second anchor, the final pillar holding our universe together, is supposedly Peter Parker. This makes Doom's plan terrifyingly personal. To speed up the collapse of the 616 universe so he can absorb it into his battle world, he needs to get rid of its last anchor. A huge part of Avengers Doomsday could be about Doom sending his armies of Doombots to hunt down and kill Peter Parker. This would not only raise the stakes for one of our most beloved heroes, but also force him out of the shadows he ran to at the end of No Way Home. He can't just be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man when the fate of his universe is on his shoulders. But Doom is playing a much bigger game. The same theory suggests he identifies anchors in other key universes too. One such target is Charles Xavier, the anchor of the Fox X-Men universe. This creates the perfect reason for the crossover we've all been waiting for. We know from the Marvel's post-credit scene that Monica Rambeau is stuck in that reality. Some speculate that an Avengers team will have to travel there to save her, only to get caught in the middle of Doom's attack on the X-Mansion, complete with an army of Sentinels. This is where you see Doom's manipulative genius. He doesn't just attack, he orchestrates. Rumors point to a manufactured Avengers versus X-Men conflict where Doom tricks both sides into fighting each other, weakening them before he makes his real move. It's a classic Doom strategy right out of the comics: divide and conquer. This destructive strategy serves two purposes. First, it systematically weakens the main realities he wants to consume. Second, it lets him study the heroes of these worlds, identifying their weaknesses and potential assets. Some theories even point to Doom seeing the uncontrollable power of Sentry in the X-Men universe and deciding he'd make a perfect living battery for his new world, much like Franklin Richards, the reality-bending son of Reed and Sue Storm, who is also rumored to be a key target for Doom. This isn't just chaos. It's a calculated, universe-spanning strategy to prune the multiverse, leaving only the best pieces for him to graft onto his new creation. All of this, hunting Loki, targeting anchor beings, causing incursions, it all leads to one terrifying endgame: the creation of Battleworld. If you haven't read the 2015 Secret Wars comic storyline, which seems to be the main inspiration here, it's one of the biggest stories in Marvel history. In the comics, a final incursion destroys the entire multiverse. Everything is gone. But at the very last second, Dr. Doom, having stolen the power of godlike beings called the Beyonders, salvages pieces of dead realities and stitches them together into a single patchwork planet, Battle World. This planet is a feudal society, split into different domains, each one a remnant of a different universe. There's a realm of zombies, a land ruled by Hulks, a kingdom of Iron Men, and ruling over all of it with absolute authority is God Emperor Doom. He is the law. He is their creator. He is the savior holding this broken world together with his own sheer will. The scale of this is just staggering, and it seems to be exactly where the MCU is headed. If these theories are right, Avengers Doomsday will end with Doom winning. It will end with the destruction of the multiverse we know and the birth of Battle World. Avengers Secret Wars would then take place entirely on this bizarre new planet, a world ruled by a version of Tony Stark who became a god. This is where the rumored life raft concept from the comics would come into play. In the comics, a few heroes survive the apocalypse on a special ship, and they remember the world that was. This small group, likely including the Fantastic Four, some key Avengers, and maybe a few X-Men, would be the only ones on Battleworld who know Doom is a fraud, not a god. They would be the spark of rebellion in a world that has accepted his rule. The war for Battleworld wouldn't just be about fighting. It would be a war of ideas. Doom would offer them peace and order, but at the cost of free will. He'd argue that he saved them from the chaos, that his total control is the necessary price for survival. He would be presenting himself as the ultimate hero, a dark reflection of Tony Stark's argument in Age of Ultron about needing a suit of armor around the world. Doom just took that idea to its most horrifying conclusion. The conflict would be a desperate guerrilla war fought by the last surviving heroes against a god who controls reality itself. It's a setup that allows for endless creative team-ups and clashes, bringing together characters from every corner of the MCU for one final struggle for what's left of reality. So let's put it all together. The grand theory, the poetic master plan, looks like this. A variant of Tony Stark, twisted by his ego and a belief that only he is right, masters both magic and technology to become Dr. Doom. Seeing the multiverse tear itself apart, he comes up with a plan not to stop the end of everything, but to control it. His goal is to steal the power of Loki, the god of stories, to become a god himself. To do this, he creates chaos across key realities, targeting anchor beings like Peter Parker and Charles Xavier to speed up the collapse. He tricks heroes into fighting each other, all while scouting for power sources like Franklin Richards and the Sentry to fuel his new world. The end of Avengers Doomsday would see him win. The multiverse dies, and from the ashes, Doom creates Battleworld, a patchwork planet where he rules as God Emperor. A handful of heroes escape, setting the stage for Avengers Secret Wars, a final rebellion against a tyrant who wears the face of their greatest hero. This entire arc is deeply poetic. It frames the whole multiverse saga as a battle for Tony Stark's soul. Was his defining moment his sacrifice, proving strength is about letting go? Or was that his greatest failure, a refusal to seize the control needed to truly save everyone, as Doom would argue? It pits the two great character journeys of this MCU era against each other. Loki, who found godhood through selflessness, and Doom, a Stark who seeks godhood through ultimate selfishness. It's a conflict about philosophy, destiny, and the terrible price of power. It's a plan so intricate and so personally devastating that it's hard to describe it as anything other than genius and poetic. But I have to leave you with one last question. If a version of Tony Stark, the man who built the MCU, becomes its final villain, does that cheapen the sacrifice our Tony made? Or does it make the choice he made and the hero he became even more powerful? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, thank you for watching.